Hello everybody, I hope everyone is doing well and welcome back. We're nearing the end of the month, so that can only mean one thing. It's roundup time, and this month was especially good for makeup finds. I have so many favorites in today's video. I'm looking at everything in front of me and everything excites me so much, so today's going to be a good one. If you've been subscribed for a little while, you'll know what these roundups are, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, it means a lot. But these videos are basically a recap of all the new products I brought into my collection, and I give you my final reviews after testing out the products for a bit longer, and I divide them into 3 categories. So my favorites, my likes, and my disappointments, or products that were unremarkable. So now that we have the gist of this video down, before we get into it, I'd love for you to subscribe if you aren't already. It means so much to me, and let's get to it. Before we get into the products, I just wanted to mention that there are a few products that were left out of this roundup just because I only got to them once and my initial thoughts still remain the same. So I'll have to give you updates throughout the next month, or I'll give you updates in the following roundup. Here are the few products that I'm leaving out of today's video. So the Bobbi Brown powder that Jamie Page got me, the NARS Soft Matte Concealer, the NYX Brow Glue, the Laura Mercier Flawless Radiance Foundation, the blush stick from Makeup by Mario, the Ilia mascara, the Revlon Skin Lights bronzer and highlighter, and the Annabelle Perfect Blush. I'll give you updates on these at a later date, but now let's get into the roundup. I'm going to start off with some of my all-time favorite products coming out of this month, and those are the Cosmetics So Soft blushes as well as the Face Plays. I'm going to be talking about these in conjunction because they have the same formula. I'm wearing the shade Terra in the contour sticks and the shade Baby in the blushes. Those have been some of my most reached for shades over the course of this month. These are stunning. I did film a more in-depth review on these, and I also swatched them against my arms and my cheeks so you can see all the colors against my skin tone. So I really recommend you watching that because I'm just going to be giving like a quick recap on these today. These are absolutely stunning and they stand out to me so much. The finish is so unique. It gives such a blurring, soft, velvety look on your skin, and it lasts a really long time because there are some powders within this formula and it does set down after a while, and that's amazing because it just helps with the longevity of this product. They're super easy to work with, although I will admit at the beginning there is a little bit of a working curve, but once you find your favorite way to apply them, they're a breeze. They blend out so effortlessly, and I love how a tiny bit of them go a long way. So I know I'm going to have these in my collection for a very long time. I just find them to be very unique. They're so easy to work with. These contain so many of the qualities that I look for in cream products, but overall, the best thing about them is that they're really easy to use. I'm pretty sure I just said that, but I'm just really trying to get my point across. These have treated me really well in the little time that they've been in my collection. If you've had your eye on these, I highly recommend them. I don't think you'd be disappointed. They're just incredibly stunning products. Following up, I have another cream cheek product. This is the Danessa Myricks Beauty Contour Balm. I have the shade Light 2, and this really stands out to me as well. I find the formula and the way that it blends to be very similar to the Fenty Beauty cream bronzers, but this is the more intense version. This one has a surprising amount of pigmentation, and a tiny bit of it goes a really long way. This is definitely the amped up version of the Fenty Beauty one, but it stands out to me because this one's finish isn't as tacky feeling or balmy feeling once it's on your skin, which is really interesting. It just does the job really well, and it's such a beautiful consistency. I've never had an issue or a bump in the road when I was working with this. It's just been reliable, and I know what to expect when I pick this product up. This is a fantastic product, and I see this one becoming a staple in my collection. I have a couple highlighting products to talk about now. This one right here is the Iconic London Radiance Booster. I've been loving this stuff. I actually have yet to compare it to the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter or the Auric Glow Lust. I feel like it just kind of stood out on its own to me because it's super sheer and it just looks like a natural glow, like a natural skincare glow, if you will, on the high points of the cheeks. I like to use this the most under my foundation, but I will use it on top of my foundations some days, and it's just been gorgeous. The pearlescence in here is so beautiful. It's very, very sheer and finely milled. You can't see any particles when you look at it up close. And the thing I love most about this one is that the base color is super see-through and super sheer, so it doesn't give an undercast at all. And I really like that because then the shade range is extra flexible too. I feel confident enough in this product to say that this is my #1 favorite Iconic London product. They really killed it with this formula, and I see myself using this a ton. The next highlighter actually took me by surprise. This is the Makeup by Mario Soft Glow Highlighter. This is the pressed version. I actually don't know if he came out with cream highlighters. I'm not really sure, but this is the shade Pearl. I'm wearing this on the high points of my cheeks today. And looking at this in the pan, it looks like it's going to be a beaming, really intense highlight, but it doesn't apply on the cheeks that way. Once it's applied on your skin, it looks just like a cream would. I'd compare the effect on the skin to be very comparable to the Ilia powder highlight, that it just looks really natural and creamy and just flattering. It doesn't cling on to texture at all, but what really stands out to me with this one is I find that there's like a blurring aspect to this one as well. It truly gives like a soft glow effect. It's just gorgeous. The name really lives up to the actual formula in here. I get candle lit glow vibes. It just gives that very romantic kind of glow to your cheekbones, if that makes any sense. I just have been really loving this one, and it really surprised me. The last highlighter here to talk about in my favorites is the Melt Cosmetics Sex Foils. I kept 2 out of the 7 shades, Gold Ore and Stargazer. They're both completely gorgeous. This one gives more of a pinky nudie effect, whereas this one's like a nice warm gold. The only time that these have failed me is when I attempted to mix the 2 shades together to create a custom one. They definitely did not get along and they separated on my skin, but on their own they're gorgeous. It's so interesting when you apply it. It just sinks right into your base just like a skincare product would, and it just is so flattering. I've never tried a liquid highlighter like these. This is a very bold claim, but these are going to give my Rare Beauty liquid highlighters a run for their money because these are almost easier to work with and they just melt right in. So Melt Cosmetics, you did a killer job on this formula. I've been loving them. They're also gorgeous underneath foundation, but my favorite way to apply them is on top. I actually have not tried them on my body yet. I'm just not someone who really remembers to apply them. And a lot of my furniture in my house is white and I just have a fear that I'm just going to wreck everything with highlighter. But I can attest these on the face and they're beautiful. Next up, I have another thing that took me by surprise this month, and that is the Pat McGrath Utopian Dream palette. Now listen, whenever I talk about a Pat McGrath palette, I feel like it's really based on personal preference, just because these are so extremely expensive that I feel kind of hesitant to truly recommend their products, just because, you know, they're outrageously priced. I think that's why Pat McGrath gets her hype so much, is because of the crazy price. That's what really makes her stand out, I guess, or what really shocked her way up in the market. But anyways, now talking about this palette, when I first saw it on Instagram, I didn't think I was going to like it at all. I thought it looked a lot more pink online than it is in person. I really like how all of the shifts give subtle amounts of color. I've worn this shade right here so many times this month. Even when I'm just going out and about, I just can't help but put a little bit in the inner corner, kind of like what I did with my makeup today. I think this is my second favorite out of all of her palettes, right after the Mothership 5 Bronze Seduction one. Now listen, if you're going to be picking up a Pat McGrath palette, I want you to really love the color story. I don't want you to spend your money all willy-nilly with them. Whenever I recommend a Pat McGrath palette, it's only if you are in love with the colors and you see yourself using it a lot, or else it's just going to be money wasted sitting in your drawer. But for me, this one is completely worth it because it ignites my love for makeup and it excites me so much. And when I use it, I always have such a great experience. And I really like how there are some more basic shades in here just so that I can use it on the everyday. I don't know, whenever I look at this palette, I get truly inspired. But my favorite thing about Pat McGrath's palettes and what really makes them stand out to me is the amount of textures that she includes in her palettes. It just really sets the palette off from other palettes I have in my collection, because not only when you layer all the colors on top of one another, but adding those different textures creates such an interesting and dimensional look that you can't get anywhere else. This thing just truly inspires me, and I feel like I could talk about how much it inspires me for such a long time, but I'm just going to say that if you've had your eye on this one and if it struck something within you, I would recommend it. Maybe wait for her sales. I know she's been having quite a few more sales this year, so keep an eye out for that. But I'm so happy to have this in my collection. It's been a beautiful addition. For me and my tastes, I do prefer this one over the Divine Rose 1 and 2. I just like the peachier tones, and these lavender colors are just so mesmerizing. I don't think I'll ever be over it. But I'm going to zip my lips and move on to something else now. I have a few base products to talk about, so let's start off with this one here. This is the Oma Beauty Flawless IRL Skin Perfecting Foundation. This is the foundation I am wearing today. I also wore this to the few weddings I went to this month, and this wears so well. It's so long wearing, and it looks the same at the end of the day as when you put it on. Of course, I do have some more natural oils that have seeped through at the end, but it just stays put. It doesn't separate. Even when I was embarrassing myself on the dance floor, it just stays no matter how much I sweat. It was incredible. This is my new go-to foundation for longer days or events. It's just beautiful. It also photographs really nicely. It's easy to apply. It blends effortlessly. Everything layers beautifully on top of it. Same with underneath. It hasn't gotten weird with any of my primers. It's just been incredibly reliable and long wearing. And thank you, Zoe, for picking this up for me. This is going to be one of my staple foundations now. I might need you to grab me a couple more colors if I can't find it here in Canada. Speaking about another base that I am surprised that I really like, this is the Danessa Myricks Vision Cream Cover. I'm also going to be talking about the wand. They're the same formula, just in different packaging. This wand has been incredible for touching up areas or spot concealing. This on its own is a little full coverage for my liking, but as full coverage foundations go, this was probably one of my favorites that I used. It just looks so skin-like for the amount of coverage that this has. It just doesn't make sense to me. I've actually been reaching for both of these to actually spot conceal when I want more of a flawless look, because it looks so natural. It doesn't really cling onto the texture of the areas I'm trying to spot conceal. It just looks very flattering on top of it, and it completely covers the discoloration. It wears a very long time too. It just stays put all day. If you're looking for something to spot conceal flawlessly, I recommend getting these wands. They're incredible. This has actually been in my purse a couple times over this month. I brought them to the wedding just in case if I had some spots that were needing touching up, but this is crazy. And you don't have to wear this as a full coverage concealer. You can also mix it in with a face oil. I know she offers one on her website just to customize the amount of coverage. I just wanted to talk about it on its own first. You can also mix it in with a primer or a skincare product if you want to do it yourself without purchasing another product, and it works really nicely. But these are going to remain in my collection. They have been saviors for when I'm wanting a more flawless look. The next one I want to talk about is quite new to me, but I feel very confident in recommending it. This is the Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. I've used this all week, and oh my goodness, is this ever beautiful. It performs just as or even better than a lot of my other favorite foundations. It just feels so high-end, and I just can't believe its price point. I cannot compute. But if you've watched the few videos that I featured this in, you guys know the deal. It looks so good. I just can't shut up about it, but I'm going to try to, okay? Do yourselves a favor and check this out if you can. I'm going in such a crazy order today. I should have put things in a better order, but now I have two primers to talk about. That was two primers. The first one is the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer. This is gorgeous. I'm wearing it under the Oma Beauty foundation today, and this has got to be one of the best primers in general that I've tried. It helps with the longevity of my makeup. It makes everything look smoother. It helps keep my oiliness at bay. It just does everything that it claims to. The only downside to this is that it does get filled with air quite a bit, so then product kind of shoots out and you get an uncontrolled amount each time. And there's not that much product in here, which sucks. Thank goodness this product is very affordable, or else that would have been a bigger deal to me, but this effect is so worth the air toots that this provides. But it just truly does it all, and I've been loving my experience with it. The other primer that does a similar thing is the Tatcha, this liquid silk canvas. Honestly, this is beautiful, and I'm actually almost out of this little sample size. I am considering picking up the full size So how beautiful this is. It truly makes my skin feel like silk before applying any of my foundation. It blurs and it kind of fills in my pores beautifully. These two do a very similar thing. They're just kind of different consistencies. This one is more liquidy, obviously, whereas this one is like a classic silicone primer, but this one is silicone free. Either way, love both of them to bits. At one point in time, I did have the compact version of this, like the original silk canvas, and I didn't like that one at all. It made my skin feel very heavy and it always made my makeup look cakey personally, no matter how much I used. I did use way too much the first time around, and then even when I just used a tiny bit, I got the same experience and feeling. But the liquid version does not give me any of those vibes, and I love it for that. I know I'm late to the game with this one, but this has been treating me very well. I have a setting powder here that really surprised me. This is probably one of my favorite products coming out of this month. This is the Annabelle Perfect Matte Powder. Run to the drugstore, you need this powder. This is an exact dupe of the Pat McGrath Under Eye Blurring Powder, and this is a bigger compact, so I can finally just apply it all over my face without feeling guilty. It does the exact same amount of blurring. I actually showed that in one of my recent videos. In my Get Ready With Me, I applied the Pat McGrath one on one eye and this one on the other, and there was no difference. If you're really looking up close, like super closely, like this one might be a little bit more brightening, but it's like you can't actually tell if you're just talking to me. I was looking at my mirror like this close and no one's getting that close to me, okay? I also tested it out quite a bit, but this does not give any flashback at all as well. And I even double layered it just to see, and there's no flashback scaries or anything, which is just a miracle. Like, come on. What? Actually, the only downside to this product is that I think it's a Canadian brand, so it's not very accessible in the States or anywhere else. I think it's pretty exclusive to Canada. So maybe I'm gonna have to like do some giveaways of this powder. I don't know. Maybe it's on eBay or any of those kind of sites. I have no idea, but yeah, that's the only downside for sure. Following up, I have a concealer. This is the Oma Beauty Stay Woke Concealer. I'm wearing this one today, and it gives me the same kind of vibes as the foundation. It wears the same, it's just a bit more thin in consistency, so it wears nicer under the eyes. It doesn't cake up or accentuate any of my finer lines down there. It also doesn't settle into them at all. It has like this nice natural matte finish, and it just stays put, and it's very flattering. I've been loving this one, and a tiny bit of this one goes a long way too, which is incredible. If you're looking for a new concealer, highly recommend this one. It's really cool. I have two mascaras to talk about. The first one is the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions. This is so similar to the Glossier Lash Slick. I've been incorporating this into my bottom lash mascaras, and it's very similar. This one I don't believe has any of the lengthening fibers like the Glossier one does, but this one is quite a bit more volumizing as well. So this one might beat my love for the Glossier one, which is kind of crazy. It wears the same. It's a tubing mascara, so the removal process is super easy. You just dampen your lashes a bit and they come off in perfect tubes, which is so satisfying. I just completely adore that time at the end of the day. One of my other favorite things about tubing mascaras is that they never crumble or smudge. They just stay put and they remain looking amazing all day. I feel very excited about this one because typically with tubing mascaras, I find them to be more just lengthening ones, but this one adds quite a bit of volume when you build it up, which is really, really exciting. So you guys will be seeing this one quite a bit. And the other mascara I have to talk about is the Annabelle Skinny one, and I have been using this on my lower lashes as well. This one just excites me so much. I don't know why. I think it's just because it just makes my routine a lot quicker, and it's also really fun to apply. You can get into and coat every one of your lower lashes, and it builds up really nicely. And this one, thank goodness, it doesn't smudge or flake, and the removal is also very easy at the end of the day. This one I don't believe is a tubing one. It has more of that fluffy matte look that tubing mascaras don't really have, but it's incredible and I feel ultra excited about it. We're now entering the last little section of my favorites, and I just have a few lip products to speak about. The first ones here are the Wet n Wild Cloud Pout Marshmallow Lip Mousse lipsticks. I'm wearing the shade Girl You're So Whipped, I believe it is. It's over there. I just don't want to get up. I'm not holding it right now, but it's a really cute color. I've been loving this formula. To me, it feels like a true combination of the MAC Powder Kiss liquid lipsticks and the M Cosmetics lip clouds. They're so comfortable. It gives that kind of silicone-y, slippy texture on your lips. And these wear beautifully too. They feel ultra comfortable. They almost feel hydrating too, which is interesting. I love this kind of formula because it appears matte, but it isn't actually matte, so it's way more comfortable than, say, a drying liquid lipstick. So if you're someone who's looking for something that's transfer proof, I wouldn't recommend these because they're basically just like a normal bullet lipstick, just with that soft matte effect. I also really like how this one has like a thicker texture, but don't let that kind of scare you away. That thicker texture just aids in kind of filling in the little lip lines of your natural lips, so you just get more of a plump pout look. I've just been loving them, and the brighter colors are solid. They don't get streaky. They also don't bleed. They wear really nicely. They're just beautiful formulated products. So highly recommend those. I have a lip gloss here to talk about. This is the Kaja Beauty Gloss Shot. Jamie Page got me this. Well, actually, I got her this first, and then she got me this in our second collab. I find this to be very similar to the Tower 28 glosses, which I love so much. This just feels a little bit more like a classic gloss, if that makes any sense. It feels a bit thicker, but it still gives that really nice shiny glass-like effect with this gorgeous color. They do offer a few shades. The one I have is Pink Drink 04. It's just been gorgeous, and it's such a cute everyday nudie shade for my skin tone. And the last product in my favorites are the Glossier Ultra Lips. Yes, a tinted lip balm made it into my favorites. I think I could say it now, but these are my all-time favorite tinted lip balms. They are so pigmented and comfortable, and they wear really nicely for tinted lip balms. They stay a while. My most worn shade out of the three that I purchased is Villa. I've worn these to the weddings and on a date as well, and I got many compliments. They're very comfortable. They're very glossy. They're just all around stunning, and I highly recommend them. And you guys know I rarely ever recommend tinted lip balms, just because I find that it's hard to recommend something that you can get for cheaper, but these ones are my new #1 faves. So that was it for my favorite section. I had a lot of amazing items in there. It's a very thick section. I cannot believe how many things I found this month. I feel so excited about each and every one of those products. But now let's move on to my liked section. So this section contains the products that I liked, but I didn't find to be the most unique, or I don't feel that like makeup excitement, if that makes any sense. So I'm first going to start off with this one. This is the Tarte Breezy Cream Blush in the shade Peach Sunset. This is a really nice formula. It's very solid. I just don't find the formula to be that unique, nor do I find that the shades are quite unique. It's a beautiful formula, and if you were to pick this up, I don't think you'd be disappointed in it at all. I just feel like it feels like a lot of other brands' cream blushes. But this blends out nice, it wears nicely, it's a cute color. I'm going to keep it in my collection, but I don't think it's going to ever be like a top favorite of mine. My next liked product was the Beauty Bakery Bite Size Pinch of Flour Setting Powder. I have the shade Oat. This is a really nice powder, but I don't think it's going to become one of my favorites. It did extend the wear of my makeup and did subtly blur, and it looked nice under the eye, but I don't think it competes with this one for me or other loose powders in my collection. I am going to keep it and use it time to time, but it's just not a favorite. I have a Danessa Myricks product here. This is the Vision Flush. This is the shade Bread and Butter. I've only used this on my cheeks and lips just because the colors I do have, I don't really see myself using on the eyes, so I don't know how they wear on the eye. But this is a gorgeous blush formula, and I prefer this on my cheeks the most. I don't really like it on my lips. I find it to be a little texture enhancing. The colors are gorgeous. The one thing is I find this to be a little tricky to work with because you have to work almost in sections, so you can't like apply it on both cheeks and then start blending on one side, because this side will start drying and you'll be left with like an ink spot or like a memory stain. So you have to kind of work at it quite quickly. But on the other hand, it is nice that it does end up drying down because it helps with the longevity of the product. So take what you will with that. I think it's a nice formula. I'm going to be keeping the shades that I do have. They're just not a faves. And the last product I have in my liked section is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick. I do really like this one, and if the M Cosmetics one never came into my life, I think I would like this a lot more. There's just been a couple times when I've used this when I was a bit more pressed for time that this didn't apply the smoothest. I find this formula to be more balmy, so it kind of moves around in a weird way when you're applying it quickly. To me, this has shown me that it's not the most reliable, so I've been reaching for this on the days that I have all the time in the world. And I can really take my time with the application. I am going to be keeping this. I do really enjoy the color of this product. I have the shade Light Medium. I just feel like it doesn't really compare or stand up to other contour sticks that I've tried in the past, if that makes any sense. It still feels quite waxy, and it doesn't read to me the most unique. I think that's the tiniest like section I've had in Roundup history. I think there's only like 4 products in there or what, I don't know. But now let's move on to my disappointments, or the products that were unremarkable to me. I'm going to start off with an unremarkable one, and those are the Danessa Myricks Waterproof Cushion Colors. I have 3 shades. I did use this neon one in my Full Face of Danessa Myricks this month. I really wish that these suited my preferences. I think these are really cool. They're just a bit sheer, and when I'm reaching for an eyeliner, I don't want it to be very sheer. I want it to be full impact. So I don't know if this has a place in my collection for me. It's just something I see myself using like once in a blue moon. It doesn't feel like something I'd grab on the reg, which is too bad because the colors are so fun and neon. Like, can you see this in my hands right now? So fun. They're just a bit sheer for my liking. I have another Danessa Myricks product here, and this is the Illuminating Veil Liquid Highlighter. This is just far too glittery for my liking. I know a lot of people like it underneath foundation, but I've tried that and I still find that the glitter comes through or shows through, and I just really don't like that. I found this one to be very texture enhancing, and I just find it to be very unflattering, and that's about it for that. That's the only reason why I didn't like this, which is too bad because the formula is cool. It has more of like a moussey whipped texture, and it felt really nice applying it to my high points. I just didn't like its finish. And the last product in today's roundup is the Glossier Solar Paints. I feel very disappointed in these. I feel like I've been waiting years for them to release a bronzer, and I'm feeling left with hurt feelings. I don't know, I just really don't like the shades. They're very, very warm. I feel like the tones that they came out with look quite outdated. They remind me of the bronzers that we saw come out like years ago. They're all very red and orangey. I also find them to be incredibly difficult to apply. You have to take a lot of time to apply it. You have to really concentrate to get it to blend nicely. On the website it says to blend with your fingers, but I found that my fingertips were way too warm and it just kind of removed. A big thumbs up, it would really help me over here. I'll make sure to link all of these products in the description down below as always, and I will see you in the next one. Love you, bye!